Hello, this is my response for the week 4 final conclusion discussion. I want to start off by saying that I think one of the biggest things that we've got, obviously, from this class is the learning map itself. The reason I say that is because one of the big things that I did enjoy about doing the learning map is that it kind of breaks it down into certain sections instead of having just one giant paper in which you have to write everything out. And what I mean by that is it gives you the opportunity to write a standard, what a standard means, how would that standard be met with children with certain disabilities, taking into consideration the certain students that you're working with, um, linguistic, culturally. It just kind of breaks it down for you, so it makes it easier to address how that is going to be looked at further on. Another thing that I did enjoy was I know people may disagree with me on this, but I think sim school is not that beneficial. It's not very realistic, and pardon me if people think otherwise, um, because it just doesn't feel like the real approach to things. And I don't think it reflects greatly on us as learning teachers or student teachers when we do that, and it just doesn't feel the same way as what we're doing right now currently in person. I know it's part of the course, and I understand that, and that's great. But one thing I did enjoy from the actual assignment itself for that sim school was that we got to meet with our classmate to collaborative teaching. And even though it is for sim school, what we personally did also for my classmate and I was we didn't just discuss about the sim school classroom that we were doing together, because I didn't feel like there was no connection, to be honest, in that. What we did talk about though a lot was the I'm so sorry about that. The connection that we had with our own experiences currently at the schools that we're working at, and how my teammate would have addressed certain lessons and how I would have addressed the lessons that they're talking about. And so, at least in that aspect, we got a more realistic approach to our collaborative learning if we were ever to have the opportunity to do so. Lastly, I think bringing it back to the learning map is that I feel that the learning map allows it to be like a prequel, you could say, some sorts, to a lesson plan itself, being that you kind of have everything set up to the standard you're going to do, right? As I stated before, who's the audience? What is the audience going to learn? What is the audience should be looking for? What does the audience already know? And so by doing so, when you create your lesson plan, you don't have to start from point A, you're starting from maybe point C or point D, because if you're aware that your audience already knows, let's say we're talking about history, and if the audience already knows, key components that started everything, for instance, we're talking about U.S. history, right? We started division of the North and the South, and so by doing so, if your students already know that, then you no longer need to focus on that, right? You can just focus directly straight going into it and saying, okay, a small brief introduction into the North and the South was divided, and then you can go into detail about the reasons why, or specifically certain events that you might want to discuss. And so that is all done because the learning map has allowed you to prep yourself for that, to no longer have to stress out about going from step A to step B. You can go straight to step C if all the students are ready and they're prepared, and you don't have to keep cycling through things that they may or may not already know.